149 kes penderaan seksual terhadap kanak-kanak direkodkan di Perak sepanjang tempoh 2016 hingga Julai 2018. Kes rogol mencatat jumlah tertinggi iaitu sebanyak 377 kes, cabul 152 kes dan liwat 20 kes. Dalam tempoh sama, Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat JKM Perak turut merekodkan 254 kes penderaan fizikal melibatkan kanak-kanak. Kerajaan negeri melalui JKM komited dalam mengambil langkah membendung dan melindungi kanak-kanak daripada menjadi mangsa penderaan.
Hello everyone, I'm Nurul Melissa. So based on the news shown, what can we observe? Basically, it's a crucial topic regarding on the child sexual abuse in Malaysia. Based on the news, it tells us on how this specific abuse is not something that is new. It is widely happening in Malaysia, and we seriously need to take care of this issue. We need to take an important role to help solving this specific issue. Therefore, today, me and my other group mates here, Nur Sabrina Batrisha, Nur Shahira, Siti Najiha and Steffi Jasmina, we will share to you more regarding the child sexual abuse in Malaysia and what we need to do as a human being. So, here comes an article that we found talking about this abuse. Here comes the introduction from me. This is a case study on the year of 2016 in June. This article was written by Irene Guat Sim Chia, Chu Wan Yuan, Department of Pediatrics, Kuala Lumpur Hospital, Julius Center, University Malaya, and Department of Social and Preventive Medicine, University Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. Basically, this review was to summarize published literature on child abuse and neglect and its consequences in Malaysia, to discuss the implications on the research findings and to identify gaps in the local literature on child abuse and neglect. Under the Child Act 2001, child abuse is defined as when the child has been or is substantially risk of being physically or emotionally injured or sexually abused or neglected in terms of adequate care, food, shelter, clothing, medical attention, supervision and safety, or abandonment or others such as being on the street, used for begging by the parents or person in charge of the child at any one time. However, from the health perspective, child abuse constitutes all forms of physical abuse and or emotional ill treatment, sexual abuse, neglect or negligent treatment, or commercial or other exploitation, resulting in actual or potential harm to the child's health, survival, development, or dignity in the context of a relationship of responsibility, trust, or power. Now, we'll be moving on to the impact of child sexual abuse by Nur Sabrina Batrisha.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Sabrina Batrisha binti Asmili, and based on this case, there is found that a qualitative study looking at 10 female adolescent incest victims illustrate with some, for example, dysfunctional families, mothers not being at home for much of the time due to financial difficulties, and also threats and coercion from the perpetrators that is found in the most sexual, and also can be the lack of support from mothers who are more protective over the fathers because of the disclosure and being displaced from home due to stigma. So based on this case, there's found that 2020 out of these 10 victims, 5 have suffered from emotional trauma, while the 3 others having tried to commit suicide. So based on this study, none of the perpetrators in this group had successfully charged and prosecuted for incest, but therefore perpetrators may not be successfully prosecuted on the incest victims to recent and also the reported cases.
We will continue our presentation, and my part is about recognizing children's sexual abuse. So not all children realize that they are being sexually abused, but there may be physical, behavioral, and emotional signs that indicate children has experienced sexual abuse. So for this physical indicator include bruising, bleeding, discharge, and pain and or soreness in the genital or anal area. Also, pregnant at a young age also can be defined as an indicator of sexual abuse. Next, we can see a sign of sexual abuse from children by see through emotional and behavioral. So the first one is they will be they being afraid of or avoiding a particular person, include family members or friends, having nightmare because things that happen to them, this sexual abuse that happen to them become a nightmare to them, and they make them feel afraid to fall asleep. So next, self-harming, also developing eating problem because we can see before this thing happened to them, they're being such a good kid, happy kid, and have a good emotional stabilization. And if after this thing happened to them, they suddenly become a new person, which is having problem eating. That's it.
So let's talk about prevention of child abuse. There are 3 ways to prevent. The first one, create safer environment. There are 2 types of environment. The first one is physical and the second one is online. For physical environment, children are likely to spend time in environment with little one or without adult supervision. It's important to consider the risk posed to children in such area. Keep children safe by keep checking regularly on that time they are left in such place. For example, outdoor spaces and ensure all areas are well. For the online environment, children are exposed to sexual abuse and inappropriate content in the online world. So, parents and organizations can take action to keep online spaces safe for children by giving knowledge and skills needed to keep themselves safe in online, which is important to them.
My name is Siti Najih Binti Yusof. I will give some responding to keep the children safe. First, contact the police. If this incident of sexual harassment occurred to children, the person shall make a police report stating the details of the victim and the incident which has occurred at any nearby police station. This report aims to protect children from these non-recurring incidents. The police will conduct an investigation into the case, and if they get strong evidence, the perpetrator will be found guilty and sentenced. Second, follow your organizational child protection procedures. In Malaysia, organizations that work with children and families must have safeguarding policies and procedures in place. These child protection procedures aims to protect children by providing support to them to reduce anxiety and trauma, as well as channel of communication between the police and the legal profession to obtain information and investigate cases. And the last one, contact your local child protection service. Among the child protection service in Malaysia are Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat, Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita, Keluarga dan Masyarakat. The main role of JKM is to rescue, protect, care and assist in the rehabilitation of the child victim and his family. JKM's task procedure is to collect all the important information about the case of sexual harassment against the child and then make a visit to the hospital if the child needs a health examination, ensure the child is in the safe place and others. If the children do not need a place safe or in the care of the qualified person, and accordingly, the protective officer will make supervision and monitoring from time to time as required. Their contact details can be found on the website for the local authority and child live-in. So, if you're worried about a child but they are not in immediate danger, you should share your concern. If we consider a child to be a danger, we must take appropriate action to protect the child.